Hello and welcome to Distraction. I'm Dr. Ned Hallowell. You know, one of the really good skills you can learn in this life is the skill of forgiving others as well as yourself. Forgiveness is something that everyone recommends, but most of us have trouble doing. You feel much better when you're not carrying around anger and resentment. In today's mini-episode, we'll take a quick look at the power of forgiveness. One of the most powerful tools a person can use to deepen and promote health, connection, growth in life is to learn how to forgive. Now, most people, their natural inclination, my inclination, your inclination, when you're hurt is to seek revenge. In fact, when people say, I demand justice, what they're really saying is, I demand revenge. And you could write the whole history of the world in terms of, I hurt you, you hurt me, you hurt me, I hurt you. You know, the ongoing cycle of hurt following by hurt following by hurt. It's primitive. It's bad for you. It's very human. It's deeply wired in the brain. The desire to forgive is cortical. You know, it comes from higher up in your brain. It comes from the part of your brain that developed later after your primitive part got laid down. And so it's hard for that upper part of your brain to rule. The primitive passions tend to hold sway. But if you work at it, you can override them, and it's in your best interest. Now, what do I mean by forgive? I don't mean you condone what was done. I don't mean you get a get out of jail free card. I don't mean you're a doormat and say, okay, hit me again. Not at all. My definition of forgiveness is simply that you rid yourself of the anger and resentment that can poison you. Walking around with anger and resentment is poisonous, and really seeking revenge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's a kind of magical thinking that only ends up poisoning you, hurting you, causing you pain and distress, and all the cascade of negatives that come from living in such a state. Your immune function is depressed, your basic emotional set point is lowered, your joie de vivre disappears. The more anger and resentment you walk around with, the less healthy, the less happy, the less vibrant you'll be. And so if you can sort of realize that forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, then maybe you'll be motivated to do it, to rid yourself of anger and resentment. You know, anger should be like a sneeze. It comes out and then it's over. But a lot of people, once they get hurt, if the hurt runs deep enough, they nurse, as the phrase goes. They nurse that grudge. They feed that grudge with their precious bodily fluids. They grow it. They just can't let go of it. It's like they have to keep visiting it every day, month after month, year after year. Entire families can be split apart for generations because of anger and resentment that gets passed along. It's colossally stupid. It's colossally unwise. And it is ever so preventable if you will commit to doing it. If you'll say, this makes no sense. I don't want to go through the rest of my life hating my ex or hating my brother or hating the person who fired me or, because that pollutes my system. That pollutes my system. So I want to commit to ridding myself of that anger and resentment. Now, doing it is a process. It's not a moment. You don't say, well, I forgive you, and the anger and resentment disappears. It's more like brushing your teeth. You really have to do it every day because decay comes back overnight. And overnight you start filling up with anger and resentment again. So you commit yourself to a process, and you simply say, what do I want my pain to turn into? And your first answer is, well, the other person's pain. Well, if you reflect on it a little bit more, you say, no, I want it to turn into my growth. I want it to be personal growth. So you learn to let go of the anger and resentment, knowing that it's not going to hurt anyone but you. You say, okay, I'm done with this. And you practice the art of letting go. You practice the art of setting a negative emotion out to sea. You can put it in the palm of your hand and blow it as if you can blow it away. You can meditate on it. You can pray on it if you happen to have that as part of your life, which I recommend. Meditation and prayer are very similar in any case. But you have to sort of join in a process of letting go, of renouncing the hold that anger and resentment have over you. If you can do that, you will notice the benefits pretty quickly. You'll notice freed up space in your emotional life, more room for love. You know, the more anger and resentment that is there, the less room there is for love. And as you make more room for love, well, love carries with it enormous benefits. There's really nothing in life that can help you feel better than the feeling of love. There's nothing in life that can sort of give you the sense of life is worthwhile and the vitality that comes with that than the feeling of love. The power of forgiveness is tremendously underappreciated. I wrote a book called Dare to Forgive if you want to read about sort of a process of how to do it. But it begins with motivation to do it and realizing that you're much better off without those poisonous emotions of chronic anger and chronic resentment than nursing them along for year after year and letting them in the process cripple you and shorten your life. Embrace the power of forgiveness. It's one of the most powerful tools you have. Well, that's our mini. Is there something you want us to do a mini on? Without our listeners, we don't have a podcast. So go to our website and check out all the ways you can reach out and connect with us. It's distractionpodcast.com. And thanks so much for listening.